Good morning, welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. So what have we got in store for you this morning? Right, let me get my show notes out and running. Number one, well, actually it's technically number two. We'll find out what number one is in a few moments time. Number one is going to be printing a 3D model airplane, but slightly different to maybe than what you've been expecting, so we'll be discussing that. We'll also be discussing the best summer FPV wing. In my estimation, it's one of the best FPV wings out there for the summer for 2017. We'll be discussing a foam party as well, what's been going on and what's in progress at the moment. We'll be chatting about the Runcam Split as well, because I have quite a specific view on the Runcam Split, but we'll get to that in a minute. We'll have a chat about a shopping bender, and also the main topic today is that as of tomorrow, the 22nd of June, it will be 1 year of posting videos on YouTube, and we'll look at a summary of that. We'll have a look at some stats and what potentially holds for the future of the Rag the Nuts Off channel. Now, those of you which have been enjoying us live, you can see the chat up above my head. Obviously, thank you for joining us live. If you've got any questions or comments, please do feel free to get involved. Good morning everybody who is on. We will do shout out corner shortly, and yeah, so I tell you what, where's the best place to start? I tell you what, I'm going to start this RC Coffee Chat by sharing with you one of my most memorable flights, which was literally last Sunday evening. Now you're going to have to excuse me because we're going to play some video, and if you haven't seen this one yet, then this was a flight with the Mini Drac. Absolutely corking evening's worth of flying. Now let me just put this into perspective for you. There's no stabilization going on here at the moment. It was just a absolutely super calm evening. I'm so glad that I remembered to hit record on the camera for this, because as you can see, I'm pretty sure I trimmed the top of the crops. You can count the blades of grass on the ground as well. And when I was back editing the video footage on the desk, I rendered it up, went back and just quickly watched it as it was uploading, and I was like, hang on, that's a deer in the corner. And yeah, so I had to go back and edit it again and then re-render it. Absolutely brilliant evening, just super calm. The sun was starting to go down. The video, in the goggles, you'll see there's some dark patches on the video footage, but in the goggles using it, oh, mind the tree by the way. I think I hit that tree, another tree of doom. Anyway, in the goggles, absolute crystal clear. I was using a Runcam Owl Plus, so it's not really affected by like bad lighting at all, and everything was super bright. But the Runcam 2, the HD camera, that's the 3D printer just finished by the way. Everything was super crisp, and the Mini Drac, this is what it kind of like gives you the confidence to do. You can count the blades of grass on the ground. Absolutely fantastic. And I think potentially for me anyway, out of all the flight videos which I've been put on YouTube, this one is probably one of the best ones I've ever put onto U-Bulls. Absolutely brilliant. If you haven't seen it yet, it's called Mini Drac FPV Cruise. Go and take a look at it. It's about 8-12 minutes long. How long was it? 12 minutes long, and it's unbelievable. It's going down as one of my best FPV videos to date, because we're that far off the ground for the vast majority of the flight. It's as low as I dare. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, do go and take the time to go and watch it. Good morning everybody, by the way. So yeah, we're just having a quick look on there. Yes, Jim, there is a parts list to my dark side which is going on. So we'll get to that topic on the shopping bender piece. Oh, by the way, I did have a go through. That's balls deep, by the way. And then this one here, I haven't named this one yet, but there is like a heart shape between those trees, and I bottled it. And where's this point? I just want to point out to you. You'll see, and again, you'll see this. What's the timestamp? About 4 minutes 12 on that video. Look out for the deer in the corner. and you'll just see, you're like, ooh, mini drat. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, do go and take the time to go and watch it. It is an absolutely corking flight. Like I said, potentially one of my best FPV flights ever. And looking at it right now, there's been 316 views. I've had it here on loop. I reckon at least 50 of those views got to be me, because I've really enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoy that flight as well. There's a link to that one in the video description as well. Right, let's move on. The first topic, the second topic for today is building a 3D model. Now, those of you which don't know the history behind this, let me just sort out some of these tabs for you, is that you may be thinking 3D printed model and a model like this, and this is a Stu's special. If you haven't seen Stu's special, then there's a link to that episode in the video description underneath for you. I can give you a pre-warning, things don't exactly go to plan. But a 3D printed model like this does require many things from you, in short, such as outstanding printer settings, a very, very well dialed in printer, and a lot of time. Honestly, just like a ridiculous amount of time to print a model like the Spitfire, which we've got there. You're talking at least a week's worth of printing, maybe more for all the components, because you've also got to factor in that things do go wrong. Now, with that said, is that I did spot that a really nice guy called Dale had been put some of these wing ribs up on Thingiverse. So I'll just put one of those up on the camera, as you can see just there. That's one of the ribs, one of the test ones which I printed. And I thought this was like a really nice combination of being able to use 3D printed parts, combine them with some carbon. We'll probably have balsa ailerons as well. Then combining maybe some foam board for the V-tail on the back, and then laminate it too. It's like the best combination of 3D printed parts to get the accuracy on the actual aerofoil itself, and the simpler approach, which is what I kind of like. And you can see I've been printed out quite a few ribs. There's even one there in the middle for a servo bay as well. And I really like this approach because it's a lot simpler. Anybody can print this. Even the cheapest, crappiest 3D printer will be able to print these out. The only thing which I would say is that on my Delta printer, we are at right on the limits of the length or the size of the bed to print the actual wing pieces, the ribs themselves. So that's a project which is going on right now. Just using some 10mm carbon tubes, some 4mm carbon rod on the back, and like I said, I'm going to be going for a V-tail. So this is going to be my take on a 3D printed model. It won't be something like what Stu maybe have been printed before, or something which maybe you've seen on Flight Test, for example. I just feel those models are just too delicate. Whereas this approach, we can use parts of 3D printing and get like the best of both worlds, if that makes sense as well. Right, so next topic which I'm going to cover is potentially the best FPV wing for the summer, which is, as probably many of you already know, it's the Horny Hornet. This is my little Hornet FPV flying wing. I'm sure many of you have seen this before. When I finished off the paint job, we had loads of photographs and stuff going on in the Facebook. In my humble opinion, I don't think this model can be touched, or for the whole package for summer FPV, which is a nice calm day. The price of the model, which is £25, so we'll say about $30 USD. It's super cheap, it's extremely nimble, it can be overpowered, it can be underpowered. You don't have to use expensive components. I'm just using a $10 FPV camera in the front of it. Tiny little 1806 motor on the back with a 50/50 prop, ironically. Some cheap metal good servos, and it's just absolutely amazing fun. And you'll see in that episode, again, there's a link to that in the video description. I do class this as the best summer FPV flying wing, for especially if you've got if you've got trees at your flying site and you've got obstacles to fly in and around, then this thing just can't be surpassed for nimbleness and just all outright fun, you know. So if you're in the UK and you got 25 quid spare and a couple of like cheap parts, get yourself a Hornet. And by the way, I would strongly not recommend trying to do a paint job like this. That took hours to do that, but I think it was Brian which was asking in the Facebook group. Absolutely crazy to do. Just looked at Kermit's question down there. Can you glue that rib okay? Yes, absolutely. We'll probably either use a bit of CA or some epoxy to hold each of the ribs in. And I've also ordered some fishing braid as well, and then I'll interline fishing braid in between these ribs as well, so that we get some rigidity, because at the moment the torsion on it moves around too much. So a dab of glue on each of the ribs and some braided fishing line with CA glue on them should really stiffen these up. So yeah, I will be braiding it as well. Like I said, for me it's like the best combination of using a whole combination of different parts, some of which are being 3D printed. So and again, it's the simpler approach rather than trying to do something like Stu did with his, which really does require a dialed in printer. Yes, I've learned a lot actually in the last 24 hours about my printer. The print settings have never been so tight on that printer. I even know that there's a little high ridge in my actual printer base as well. So yeah, it's coming along really quite quickly. I've done one side already. The siren which we heard a few minutes ago, that was another rib being finished. I was using PETG filament for these orange ones, but actually the PETG feels too flexible, and I've actually ironically gone back to PLA. So we're going to have a mixture of ribs, and I will put clear laminate on these as well to show off the inners on them as well. I think it's going to look absolutely amazing once it's finished. Right, so let's have a quick look. Stairs by wing warping, yes. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm down there looking at the chat as well. So I tell you what, let's move across to shout out corner. This is the section where I can say a good morning, good afternoon, or a good evening to you. It's one of my favourite sections of these RC coffee chats because it gets you involved, you know. So a very good morning, Bush Block Homestead. Let's have a quick look. Oh, well done, fella. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Bradley, Aaron, Anthony, Kermit, Joe, Philip, Speed Raider, good morning, new name down there. Gordon, Leon, Thumbs FPV, Brad, Jim. There's two Jims in this morning. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Van. Good morning, Les. Good morning, Gordon and Rudolph. Good morning, Turbo Tyler, of course. Kim, good morning. Go2499, good morning, fella. Leon, good morning. Not really me, good morning. Elijah, good morning. Henry, good morning. Joanne, good morning as well. And a special shout out to Joanne as well. Go on, girl, get out there and get some models in. You know why, in short. So scrolling up, good morning. If I missed anybody, I think, Alex as well was in there first thing this morning, and also Ruds as well. So a very, very good morning to you. Scrolling down. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, I might. Yes, good afternoon, by the way. And Anthony and Aaron, good morning too. Right, woohoo twice. And good morning, Paul, as well. Happy days. Your Pix Racer and FF7 turned up this morning. And good morning, Thomas, as well. Happy days. Right, so you can see the live chat going on my head, and obviously if I've missed a question, I do apologise. There's been quite a bit of chat going on in there this morning. So far we've been and covered potentially one of the best flights, FPV flights I've ever done, and that was with the mini track. It's amazing. Go and watch the episode. If you don't like the music, turn it down. The flying just kind of speaks for itself. We've also spoken about 3D printing a model airplane and potentially the best FPV wing for summer FPV of 2017. It is absolutely corking, and I've put loads of DVR footage in the background of that episode, and you'll see me just so much confidence with that wing just to dart in and out of the trees on a calm day. It's kind of unparalleled for that close in fun FPV action, which I'm sure many of you enjoy. Right. Let's move on to the next topic, which is a foam party. Now this section is dedicated to the progress of models, new, old, and whatever. Anyway, let's get some space on here right now. So, give you an update. Flying Blade. Remember that I keep saying this. I need to get some more video footage out on these little wings. I think they're absolutely fantastic. $40 out the gate. There's mine. I painted it bright orange and white. This is my second one of the Flying Blades, and it's almost ready. As you can see there, it's been laminated and everything. Now we've got the control horns on. We've got the wing tips on as well. And with this one, it's almost ready for being set up for FPV. As being a slope soarer. I've FPV'd my other one, and it's absolutely bonkers. For about 2 months, all I did was fly at line of sight my other one, because it was just so much fun to fly line of sight in short. So I bought another one. This one's almost finished, and we're going to be setting this one up as a slope soarer. It should be absolutely bonkers on the slope, so I'm really looking forward to getting this one out, potentially on Friday, for its maiden on the slope. I did make sure that I did put the motor mount on the back, so that I can convert it to a power model if I want to at a later date. So that's the Flying Blade, almost finished. Also, we found, and let me get this right, the missus found this one down the back of a sofa, and this is, look at the blooming size of this one. It's taller than me sat in this chair. It's actually a Zack Speed Combat Wing. Now, there was a comment by Sir Bruce about putting carbon in a model. Now, I would like for you just to take note of all those black lines. And chances are that underneath all of those black lines, and let me just show you the bottom as well, there are pieces of carbon where you see those black lines. Bruce, you cannot have too much carbon in a wing, in my honest opinion. So this is like an old project which is getting resurrected. It just got lost behind the sofa, to be honest. Never got around to finishing it. So we're going to go and get it finished. Of course, we'll load it up with iNav. Should be a nice big cruising wing as well. Let's have a quick look. Roddy, I've just seen your comment up there in the chat, which is CG for the mini drac, 15 to 25 mils. Personally, Roddy, I would strongly suggest that you run your mini drac 25 millimeters away from. If you look underneath, you'll see that there's the piece with the piece of foam which you stuck in for one of the front spars. From that edge, 25 millimeters towards the nose, and put your CG there. That is obviously quite nose heavy, but unfortunately we had one death spiral on us coming in. It was a power off loop, and it got to the top of the loop and just death spiraled, and it was completely unrecoverable. So yeah, Roddy, I would strongly suggest that you run yours nose heavy, and I've not had a single issue with mine doing similar maneuvers. So yeah, definitely run your mini drac nose heavy, and also go back and watch the other episodes so that you know. Well, you saw the video on the elevon movements, double the elevator movement compared to the aileron movement. Otherwise, it will just be too wild for you. So I hope that Roddy, that helps you. Let's have a quick look. Turbo Tido's just put a message in there. There is a new wing. And again, I'm going slightly off topic, which is not that one. By the way, I did buy that one. Contrary to the vote in the Facebook group, I have been and bought it. It's a 55 centimeter EDF. I've got a little 50 mil EDF unit to go in it. So I've kind of been and bought it. It should be turned up with us some point in the future. There is a new wing as well. There's a link to it in the video description, and it's by Eachine, and it's an EPO carbon fiber, glass fiber fuselage. Now, I'm willing to put myself on record of these. I don't like the carbon center fuse. The mini race wing. That's where we first saw it. This carbon or glass fiber fuse in the center. We've seen it on Sir Bruce's channel with the Tech 1 version, and now there's an EPO version which has come out. I won't be buying any of them. I don't like the idea of a carbon fiber death trap in the middle. It's not like a wing like this, for example, where obviously you've got components in the nose, but there is a crumple zone. The same for, and there's my alarm. there's just no bend in it, and one mistake on your part and it's going to be smashed to pieces, and that's the end of it. Whereas if it's made out of EPP or EPO, then you've got a chance of repairing it, you know. So I don't like that format of models. So it's come up a couple of times. Won't be buying either any of those. In short, I just don't like the format. Sorry, it's just the way it is. And you'll see the chat earlier, and I kind of labelled it as being a death trap, and that's my honest opinion. I do think they're just death traps. There's just no bend in that centrifuge, so I don't want a model like that flying around anywhere near me, to be brutally honest. So what else we got on it? Oh yeah, that big wing, that's actually a Zat Combat, super cheap. We're talking like €35 with the centre block off eBay. There's a linky and whatnot in the video description for you about that one. The all had new model porn turn up. That, ladies and gents, is a Ritewing Spec wing. So that literally just turned up yesterday, and it came with 2 t-shirts, one of which I've got on today. Yeah, kind of looking forward to that. I've just kind of opened the box, saw t-shirts and got them out. That's as far as I've got with it. So we'll need to get that one built. Also, this is not a micro track. This is just a very well cut piece of Depron, which might resemble a micro track. So another little project which I've been working on. That's about as far as I've got with it, to be honest. So we'll have that one out at some point in the future, obviously, until Mr. Chris Click gets the micro tracks built, if he ever makes one. So I need someone to tide me over for the interim, so we're going to make one out of Depron instead. And no, there are no plans for that. We've just kind of made it up as we've gone along. And what was that? That's it for the models. That's foam new and old. Yes, Ritewing Spec opposite the X, absolutely. Aaron, yes, and sorry, I'm looking down here and you can see the chat going above my head. Yes, Spec Wing is good. I've got some 3D parts for it. Aaron, you've got me on Facebook. Please send them the ST files across. The 3D printer is just over there, and I'll get some stuff printed off today. So that would be very appreciated, Aaron. And Aaron, a big hat tip. The Hardcore 24 over there, that little Runcam module which you made, absolutely brilliant. In fact, what I'll do after this episode, I'll put a link to Aaron's Thingiverse page, and he's got a load of different parts on there, and I found them really, really useful with the Ritewing wings as well. So Aaron, big thank you to you, sir, as well. Right, where's me coffee? Slow-mo. Yeah, it's about the same shipping because it's coming from Germany to the United Kingdom. So the Zat Combat is out of stock right now. Unfortunately, it's $30. Yeah, it's about 15 something quid to ship it from Germany here to the United Kingdom. But they are fantastic models. They really are, and they're super cheap. Keep that in the back of your mind. Super, super cheap. And as many of you know, I've got a slope saw inversion. Flies fine. It's got more carbon than that one, believe it or not. Hey ho. Anyway, let's move on. Runcam Split. I'm sure you've all seen these before now, where you've got the FPV camera and you've got this separate processing board. Now, am I the only one thinking this is a very expensive and very delicate setup? I can't be the only one thinking this. So instead of using, and I haven't got one on my desk, instead of using a Runcam 2, for example, or even the Runcam 3, or on the top of your model, so you can take it off and you can put it on any model which you like. With the Runcam Split, you've kind of just installed the main board in your quad or in your model, and there's no taking it out. There's not like a quick, oh, I'll just unvelcro it and I'll stick it on another model. Obviously, you get a neater build, but I just don't see the appeal. I can see the appeal from maybe you're a quad pilot and you want a super tight, super slick build. But for anybody else, it just makes it ridiculously expensive. So it's a good idea, but it's very niche in what it's done. So again, I'm still waiting for a decent Runcam with a Runcam 2 with a decent microphone. That's the only thing which I feel that they need to fix in inverted commas, is sort out the microphone on it, get it to the Mobius standard, and I think it would be absolutely fantastic then. So that's my only complaint about the Runcam HD cameras, is the microphones are diabolical. Absolutely. So yes, Brian, 60 quid for each model, when you could pay 60 quid for a Runcam 2, or maybe a little bit more for a Runcam 3 if you like that form factor, and put it on any model you like. Hey ho. Now, in the video description, and I'm not going to cover any of the parts specifically, well, I'm going to bring out one part and then a couple of other parts. Is that what I've been doing up until now is basically giving you a list of all the stuff which I've bought over the past week or so. There's one thing which has arrived, which was the Relac Pro, I forget the number of it, Diversity Receiver for the Fat Shark goggles. I can tell you, I am 100% impressed with that Diversity Receiver, and I don't know why I didn't upgrade to one many moons ago. They're absolutely brilliant. No, I have not changed the firmware. No, I have not tweaked any of the settings other than changing the call sign on it. And it's absolutely brilliant. I don't know why I didn't move to using Diversity before. So that's been one of my best buys over the last 2 weeks. Absolutely brilliant. There was something else in there. Oh, this as well. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have seen one of these before. I'll do a little mini review on it. It's a little flight line charger. Basically, you get your spare battery, maybe a 5200 pack for example, stab that in the top, stab in the battery which you want to charge on the left hand side. It's got a little scroller on the side, and it's a little flight line charger. I think they're absolutely brilliant. Dave's got one, and that's the reason why I bought it, is because Dave's got one and he uses it pretty much every time he goes flying, and I thought it was really good. So I've been and bought myself one of those. So that's two things which I'm going to note, with one exception, which I may be going to the dark side, and I've bought some parts for a cheap quadcopter. I think I'm about £81 in the hole so far. I will be using a F4 flight control board with mine, because it's got the built-in OSD and it's got the current sensor on it. And I'm going to make up a little, was it a 215mm quad, something like that, for chucking around in the garden. And again, as many of you know, the reasoning behind it is because I'm looking for something which isn't that affected by wind. So instead of having to wait for a perfect day like this morning out there to be able to fly a 3D model, the normal fixed wing model, if it was windy, if it wasn't like the best day ever, then I could take a quad out and go and dart some trees, probably hit a few trees. So I've got the parts coming for that one. We'll get them built up as soon as they arrive. Right, that brings me to, and I don't mind showing you my desktop on this. Yeah, that's fine. 1 year of YouTube. Yeah, it's the Relac one which I've got, and Lee, yeah, I did see there was a cheaper version as well, that was just which is obviously happy days as well. And again, I'm just trying to keep an eye on the chat which is going on above my head. Thought DLG would keep you entertained, Matt. Quads. Yeah, it's only for mucking around in the garden. We'll get to that topic of quads in a few moments' time, because I feel it's kind of apt. So what have I got here in my notes, which is that as of tomorrow, excuse me, which is the 22nd of June, it will be 1 year of posting of videos. My goal was to do it daily. I have got pretty close to that. Excuse me, technically I have produced 869 videos in the last 365 days, which I think is quite of an achievement. Obviously, some are better than others. Anyway, so that was my goal, and it all started by accident. And many of you will remember the introduction video to the YouTube channel. And as I said many months ago, when it came to a year, I don't know what I'm going to do. And now I'm at a year, I still don't know what I'm going to do. So we'll get to that topic in a moment. So give you a heads up, some days there have been no videos. Remember that week which I needed to just go undercover I had loads and loads of work to do and I don't post any videos for a week. But then there's been other days when I've posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. I think there was 9 on one day at one point in time. So I think I've done good. In short, personally, I'm very impressed with myself in what I've been able to achieve in a year. And again, all of this is really thanks to you, to be honest, for getting involved in everything which we've been doing. I've learnt a lot over the past year. I've made some mistakes. I've had some laughs. You've had some laughs at my expense. And we've also had some really good laughs together as well. So it has been a very, very curious year, to say the least. We've also had some absolutely fantastic models, and thankfully, I'm glad to be able to say this. We've had a few shite models, but if you consider how many different models which I've flown in the last year, remember, keep in the back of your mind, I've only been flying RC models for just over a year. It was a year in April. When I first started flying RC models. So if you consider how many models which I've flown in the last year, I dread to imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if I haven't flown over 100 different types of RC models. And the good news is that we've only had a very, very small number of utter rubbish models. And the two which were that bad went in the cement mixer. And if you haven't seen that episode yet, go to after the RC Coffee Chat, go onto my channel, type in cement mixer in the search bar, and you'll find it. So that's what happens to bad RC models. Right, some numbers from the last year of YouTube, and again, I feel it's important to share a couple of these things with you. So the YouTube channel itself has topped 1 million views. I've created over 860 videos, which I think is damn good going. I think I started about 1,200 subscribers, maybe a little bit more. I was in a little bit of doubt, so we've gone from 14. So I've been a little bit conservative. We've gone from 1,400 subscribers to 3,700 and something, so about 2,300 subscribers, which is happy days. It turns out there's 2,300 nutters which are quite willing to join in with RC Coffee Chat and see me stuff the odd model into a tree from time to time. I think that's quite good going, to be honest. Because remember, I don't class myself as having any special skills at all. I do have the ability to talk the hind legs off a donkey. Let's not ignore that one. But I'm not a gifted presenter. I'm not an especially talented pilot. Anybody can do this, in short. A camera of some form, whether it be a web camera to do live stuff like this or a HD camera, that's all you need, you know, straightforward as that. Anyway, moving on. One of my best stats, and I'm going to show this on the screen over here, is that for the best part of, we'll round this up to 3 million minutes watched minutes on YouTube, which is, what's it saying today? 5 years and 202 days worth of video of people like me and you, because I have to include myself because I do watch my own episodes. I've watched, so for 1 year of posting videos on YouTube, people like me and you have watched nigh on 6 years worth. I think that's just a statistic which has blown me away. I think that's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. We've had about 600,000 views. Big one for me, which you can actually see. Let me just move this across so you can see it. I've heard this so many times before that you should post short videos onto YouTube, and I think that's absolute bollocks. A YouTube video is as long or as short as it needs to be, and I think that's kind of detailed by here. By the average view duration is 4 minutes and 49 seconds. So the best part of 5 minutes. That's probably exceptionally higher than most other YouTube channels, mainly because I'm not afraid to post longer content on the channel. If it's interesting, you keep going. Straightforward as that. If it needs to be short, you do a short one. If it needs to be long, it needs to be long. The video length is as long as it needs to be. And I'm making that point because I know some people will just make a 1 minute video because that's what they read somewhere and that's what they do. and the thing which I've learned and have been improving, it doesn't matter how long the video is, as long as it's been interesting. So moving on down, oh yeah, really cool one, 17,000 likes on the on the videos. I think that's brilliant. Of course, we add in the dislikes as well, so that's we'll call that a straight 18,000 interactions. The one which has blown me away, and it's a big thank you to you, which is down here, 36,000 or close to 37,000 comments have been left on those videos. That is absolutely crazy. One thing which I actually do feel that I've let myself down on is the number of shares, and that's just my own fault by not asking you to share each video. I think that's one area which I've maybe have failed in. There are other areas which I know that I've failed in, but that's definitely one area which I feel that I've could definitely improve on some more. Now that kind of, oh, and of course we can't forget the Faceballs group as well. 1,000 people, over 1,000 people in a Faceballs group. 1,000 cool people like me and you. I think that's absolutely bonkers. So that's just like a little bit of a retrospective look at a year on YouTube. Now, like I said, back when I started this channel, I never knew that it would end up where it is today, in short. Many months ago when I did, like I said, when I did that introduction video, I didn't have any idea what I would do when I get to that day of doing a year, and tomorrow is that day, and frankly I still don't know. One thing which I am going to go and do over the next week or two is clear the house down. Okay, so I do need to check my notes on here. I am going to publish, so expect tomorrow a collection of videos to go out. Okay, I am going to publish a backlog of videos which I've got here which are marked as unlisted. I'm going to go out and write the descriptions for them and get them published tomorrow, so do expect quite a few episodes out tomorrow. I do need to maiden the Team Legit 48 wing, which they sent me absolutely ages ago, and I've just not got round to finishing. It's pretty much finished now. I just need to take it out and fly it. Unfortunately, the weather's a bit cack, so that's why I'm saying over the next 1 to 2 weeks we'll get the maiden out for that one. I also need to be fair to GearBest. They did send me a little trainer model for me to review, and it's been sat on the shelf for months. I need to get that one out of the way. That's just going to make me feel better. It's going to fly fine, you know. I already know. You can just tell by looking at it. It's a little 2-channel trainer, you know. Really can't go wrong with those. I will also obviously finish off the iNav series as well. We're at like a pinnacle point where the point is now the wiring up stage. I've got a model over on my workbench which is I'm setting up with iNav as well, so we will set those settings together. We'll get it wired up together. Nice practical example, and then we'll go out and get it flown. So we will finish up the iNav series over the next 2 weeks as well. Now, to be honest, after that, I just don't know. I don't know about the RC Coffee Chats. I don't know about any future series. Like I said, I'm 1 day away from a year, and I don't know. I just genuinely don't know. I have thoroughly enjoyed the experience. I don't think that I don't think I'm going to stop creating content on RC. Like, you can see how much foam I've got back there. I'm not going anywhere as far as RC goes, you know. I'm hook, line and sinker. I think it's fantastic. It's just, especially with FPV, it's just a unbelievable experience. But right now, I've got to the year, and I've got to be honest with you. And remember, keep in the back of your mind, and again, I had this at the beginning, my 3 core values for what I was going to do on YouTube was I needed like a simple motto to keep me on like the straight and narrow, which was to be humble, never lie, and be me. And here's me going, I just don't know what the future holds. I was hoping that I'd have a plan and what I'd be doing in the future as far as the channel, and I've got to say to you, I just don't know. So yeah, absolutely. Play your first video. Yeah, you'll have to look them back. I think it was the one which I used as a reference was the Bonsai Part 3, the Mental Bonsai Part 3. Look that one up onto the YouTube channel, and you'll see that. Well, I tell you what, I'll do that right now. That was a suggestion by Elijah, which you can see above my chat. Now, obviously, I have been and not noticed most of your chat above my head. I will go back and watch this episode myself. So if you have any comments or questions about anything which I've covered today, you can either leave as a comment underneath this video, or of course you can nip across to the Facebook group as well. Let me go have a quick look. Mental Bonsai. Let me see if I can find that a moment. It was the part 3. Where is it? Bonsai in a tree. Part 1. It's part of a series. Let's wait for that to load up a second. There. That was probably one of the first decent ones which I put up. It was about a mental bonsai. Sticking a RX5808 2600 kV, overpropping it with a tri-blade. It was absolutely bonkers. So that was probably my first interactions with mentally fast models. And look at I've still got her. Now I've only got one wall hanger in this house, and that's my original bonsai, and there she is. Quite a bit of difference compared to the one which you can see on there. That's when she was new. This thing I've had hundreds of flights with, and it is my only wall hanger I will keep. So let me stick her back up on the wall where she belongs. So that's my only wall hanger, and as many of you know, I don't keep models for wall hangers, but that's my one exception because I have had so many flights with her. And me and her, we've had happy days. And look that one up on the U-Balls channel, and you'll see for yourself. Right, moving on. I'm not going to cover the as many of you know, for the last couple of weeks we've been looking at Hobby King to see if the Sidewinding was out. There's no point. Apparently it's not going to be out till later this year, so we're not going to humour that one. And with that, it's time for us to wrap up. Let me just quickly recap what we've been and covered today. If you've not seen that flight yet, wherever it is, let me see if I can find the window. If you've not seen the flight with it's the mini drac, just type in mini drac FPV cruise and you'll find it. An absolutely stonking flight. That's that video which I played at the very beginning. One of the best FPV flights to date. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. We've got the 3D printed model plane. I'm taking a different approach. We're not doing stuff like that approach, which is very time intensive, very frustrating. This approach, much simpler. And as you can see, I've already got a load of ribs already printed out, and I just need to sort out a center section and some other details, and we should be ready to go with that in about a week or so, something like that. Happy days. Excuse me. The best FPV summer wing for darting in and out of trees, Hornet. Absolute corking little model. If you want to see what one's like, stick it on there, or just type in Hornet on my YouTube channel in the search box, and there's loads of them on there. Brilliant little wings, and keep in the back of your mind, 25 quid. 25 quid for that much fun. Brilliant. That's why, and by the way, that was one of the big factors. I did want to do like a best summer FPV wing, and to be honest, it was the Hornet any day of the week, just because of the price compared to the fun which you can have with it, compared to the components which you can put in it as well. Corking value for money. Amazing value for money. Foam party, we heard about a couple of the models which are in progress at the moment. We spoke about the Runcam Split. We also mentioned about the Diversity Receiver and the parts which I've got for the quadcopter, which is on its way. Parts of it should actually turn up today as well, hopefully. And then we spoke about the 1 year of YouTube. And I think I've done a pretty good job. Obviously, you can rate it anyway. Some of you might just be new here. Some of you might be here from the beginning as well. I think I've done a pretty good job. I've amazed myself. And frankly, I am amazed by the sheer number of cool people like you which I have been met during this journey. It has been absolutely breathtaking And if you want to know what kind of people which are in this community, nip across to Facebook. There's a link to the Facebook group in the video description. Go and see people helping other people. Even like this morning, there was like 4 or 5 threads going off at the same time where people were literally helping others which they never actually physically met and probably will never meet as well. So yeah, absolutely blown away by you, in short. So on that note, it is time for me to wrap up. Apologies, I've not really been looking at the chat above my head. The Guinness is on flyingwings.co.uk. Not affiliated. Again, I mentioned that in the video. I think the guy's name's called Rob. You know, go and have it. It's flyingwings.co.uk, or just type in Hornet FPV wing into Google. You'll find them. Corking little wings. But before you can chuck your own cash on the table, go and watch that video which I had up on the screen a few moments ago, and you can actually see it in the sky, and we'll have a good chit chat about having some fun with it, and you'll see me just chucking it around. Brilliant little wing as well. So apologies, I've not really kept an eye on the chat today. Like I said, what I will go and do myself is after this video I'll go back and watch it myself, so apologies if I've missed any of your comments or questions. Remember, the Facebook group is open 24 hours a day. There is a shameless plug for the Faceballs group. There's a link to that in the video description. Facebook.com/groups/rag the nuts off. And go and take a look. It's free to join. Press the join button in the top right hand corner, and one of us will pick up your request later. And ultimately, for the future of the channel, I genuinely do not have an idea. And this is me honestly sitting here in front of you and honestly saying, I don't know. But rest assured, I'm still flying. I've never gone. I'm kind of like a balls deep kind of guy, you know. I really enjoy this hobby of RC. There's nothing quite like being free in the goggles. It's, for me, the specific thread which I enjoy the most is obviously FPV, and it, for me personally, it is video gaming in real life. I think it's absolutely fantastic that if you make a mistake, you've got to go and walk 30 minutes through a field and go and try and find your model in the crops, and you might see a deer while you're at it as well. Those of you who watched the Lost Model alarm video, you know what I'm talking about. I just think that's absolutely fantastic, and I've met so many fantastic people in this journey. The journey is not ending by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just here today saying to you, I don't know what the future holds for the channel, but keep in the back of your mind, still definitely into RC all the way. So on that note, it's time for me to wrap up. I would like to say a massive thank you, number one, for joining me here today for a chit chat over a cuppa, and number two, thank you for joining in with the journey. This is a journey. We're hitting that milestone of a year, and I don't know what's going to happen afterwards. I just don't know. You know, straightforward as that. So anyway, time for me to go. If you are out flying today, have a fantastic day's flying. If you've enjoyed this episode, you know the drill with the likeys and stuff underneath YouTube. If you've also enjoyed this and it's your first time here, I'm Matt. Welcome aboard. You can subscribe by pressing that big red button underneath this video, and I'll most likely see you very, very shortly in a couple of episodes. Like I said, got a whole collection here backed up. We'll get those out as soon as possible for you. So on that note, from myself, Matt, happy flying. Cheerios.